It's been a few months since golf became less about the sport and more about who's with which tournament. Meanwhile, Ian Poulter and others playing for the LIV Tour were in trouble with the DP Tour, but it didn't go as planned. In this video, we'll be taking a look at Ian Poulter's woes at the Open, so stay tuned. To start off, here's what's going on down at the Scottish Open. The Scottish Open is in full swing, and golfers are trying their best to show their talent, especially after the display of strong opinions. These days, golf is less about who is winning and more about which side the ones who are winning are on or whose side the loser is on. That's exactly what's been happening these days. Quite a lot of players have put on a great show, but the same can't be said for Ian Poulter. Cameron Tringle, for example, shot an incredible 61 on Friday in the first round. Other golfers, too, managed to make some memorable shots at the Scottish Open. Justin Harding managed a 65. He was followed by the three-time champion Jordan Spieth. He was in the middle of preparations for the British Open at St Andrews taking place the following week. Jason Scrivener, an Australian player, also managed to make an impression with his shot of 69 at North Berwick, letting him set an early pace. Despite all this, most of these scores were overlooked due to Tringle and his climb to the top. Secondly, a look at how Cameron Tringle's playing. Tringle is an American player, and even though he's quite good, he still has failed to win a major professional event. This time, he was sure to show that he wasn't here to play. He started the back nine with successive birdies, leading him to reach 9 under par, meaning he had reached a point where if he managed to play the last 3 holes in 2 under, he would shoot the second ever 59 in the history of the DP World Tour, formerly known as the European Tour. This sadly didn't happen, as he missed the birdie by 12 feet on the par 5 16th and then parred the last 2 holes. Even with this, he still got 61, which is equal to the course record Bernd Weisberger set back in 2019. Tringle told everyone that though this wasn't the first time he had left people with their jaws on the floor, still it was a special day, and to top it off, he would like to win. Tringle is now 2 shots ahead of Gary Woodland. He said that though he hadn't got a professional win yet, he was glad to be in a place where everyone appreciated the sport he loved, especially because it was Scotland, which is where golf originated. Next up, James Corrigan lay it on heavy after Ian Poulter plays badly. If things had gone how people would have liked them to, Harding wouldn't have been playing this week's event at North Berwick. But he did because the suspension given to players who played in the LIV wasn't upheld by the DP World. Harding, Ian Poulter, along with Adrian Otaegui, had been placed under bans, but these were temporarily lifted because of the appeals that had been taken to court by the players. Ian Poulter, who had been confident in taking matters to court to lift the ban, didn't do very well giving his haters a chance to laugh at him. He managed to fall ungracefully to 78 on the east coast of Scotland on Thursday. This is especially embarrassing, seeing as professionals mostly don't tend to go over 72. James Corrigan didn't hold back in the scathing review he gave the golfer's performance at the event. He said that Poulter was probably wondering why he had even bothered to get the ban lifted. He made sure to mention just how badly he had been defeated after fighting so hard to play, going as far as taking his appeal to the court and then only coming to tie 151st with somebody in a field that hosted 160 people. Not to mention that 78, which meant he was at least 16 shots behind the leader. Lastly, Corrigan thinks Keith Pelley, at the very least, smirked over Poulter's loss. James also wrote that Keith Pelley, the chief executive of DP World, had probably felt a considerate amount of satisfaction at the trouble Ian was facing. He was human after all, and he definitely wouldn't be the only one. Billy Horschel, not being able to refrain from stirring up drama, said the rebels were hypocrites and liars in a press conference prior to the tournament. Harding answered after his first round saying that they were golfers, not fighters or confrontational people, and this was an awkward situation to be in. Harding also added that while he had known joining the LIV would be tricky, he hadn't expected people to blow up like this. But in the end, the problem was that he had supported the DP World for a long time and so had wanted to play in it. He had been upset when he was told he was banned from it, but thanks to the appeal was given the opportunity and he would gladly take it. Mostly, Harding doesn't seem to have a problem with other players. He did say that it would get uncomfortable sometimes, but in the end, they were all here to play golf. As for the Australian players, some of them are doing pretty good, while others are not. Cameron Smith did a pretty good job as he managed to tie for 15th after he shot a 2 under 68. Scrivener was only 1 shot behind him, followed by Lucas Herbert. However, the likes of Minwoo Lee, Mark Leishman, Maverick Antcliffe, and Mark Scott Hend didn't manage to leave a lasting impression. Now in other news. First off, Lucas Herbert shares the funny reason he hated Phil Mickelson for over a decade. Australian Lucas Herbert will be facing American Phil Mickelson for the first 2 rounds of this year's Open, a man who he's hated for more than 10 years. Herbert made a post on Instagram sharing the story. In the President Cup, which was played in Australia at the Royal Melbourne in 2011, Herbert shot a 70. He went into the event after lying about his age to see the world-famous golf players. This means that Herbert has collected signatures from Nick Watney, Hunter Mahan, Bill Haas, David Toms, Matt Kuchar, Jim Furyk, Webb Simpson, Steve Stricker, Bubba Watson, Dustin Johnson, and Tiger Woods on his Titleist hat, but only Phil Mickelson refused to sign. Herbert said that he reminded Phil of that day and told him that he hated him and had done so for 11 years because he didn't sign the autograph for him. Mickelson apologized for the event, and Herbert described it as being funny. Herbert announced that he had recorded it all in a video and that he would upload it for everyone to see. He also uploaded a detailed analysis of the video, telling the moment when Mickelson snubs his autograph. Secondly, Tiger Woods has emotional moment at what might be his last Open at the Old Course. Tiger Woods almost cried after he got cheered for the entirety of the full length of the 18th hole while playing on the Old Course during the Open Championship on Friday. At the landmark 150th staging of the world's oldest major, Wood, who used to be the world's #1, almost missed the halfway cut. The standing ovation showed his standing in the game. At the famous St. Andrews venue, Woods has won 2 out of 3 claret jugs after he missed out on the U.S. Open last month to make sure he would be in tip-top condition to play in his favorite course this week. Woods didn't comment on whether it would be his last Open championship. Every 5 years, the Open usually comes back to St. Andrews every 5 years, which marks the next one for 2027. In a 9-over total, the 46-year-old managed to finish with a 3-over par 75, 22 shots adrift of Australian professional golfer Cameron Smith, who led after 2 rounds. He 6-carded an 8-under par 64 as he improved to 13 under. Finally, the LIV versus PGA tension continues to tear apart golf at the Open Championships. At the 150th Open Championship in St. Andrews, Scotland, there were over 24 players in the field who were also participating in LIV Golf. Dustin Johnson, for a small amount of time on Friday afternoon, was an outright leader at 9 under par. Other players like Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, and Sergio Garcia were there as well. They and Poltz, Westy, and Blandy haven't been warmly welcomed back to the Old Course. Greg Norman, a proud winner, owner of 2 claret jugs, and a vocal leader of LIV Golf, got told to stay at his home by the R&A this week. The 2013 Open winner, Mickelson, was not blacklisted from the past champion celebrations on Monday and Tuesday, but wasn't encouraged to attend. Poulter was booed by the Open galleries on his first tee on Thursday. None of the LIV players got invited to the media center for a pre-tournament press conference, and neither were they assigned marquee tee times. Mickelson got put into the 5th group along with Lucas Herbert and Kurt Kitayama on Thursday. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Ian Poulter and the LIV versus PGA war? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.